It's 2014. Middle of the month, January. Happy New Year's, everybody. Sorry I couldn't remember any wonderful songs to sing in Spanish to flaunt my my not-so-beautiful voice.
I was hoping you'd sing the Fuego song. It's the entrance sound.
Oh, can't do that one. Well, I'll still do Salta, 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 Pequeña Langosta, Quiero no dejar de... Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, it's been a while. It's LuchaWorld Podcast.
It's been actually not that long ago, because we actually did a show in December, didn't we?
It seems, yeah, it did, but it seems like it's been a while.
Yeah. No, actually, it's been a while. It would be different if we were, like, gone for, like, 2-3 months.
Well, it's true. It's been a short time, but we have a lot of stuff to cover. We have really good news, exciting news, and some sad news, too. Start off with the really good news is El Fisico Nuclear.
I was like, what's the good news?
That's the good news. El Fisico Nuclear, local boy in LA from 1992 to 2007.
Long-time Vandal Drummond rival, too.
Exactly. Yeah. Long-time Vandal. In fact, first match was against Vandal Drummond.
Yeah.
On December 28th, Fisico Nuclear became a married man. He married his longtime love of 17 years, Christopher Murillo. And Murillo will be taking his name, so he will be known as Christopher Nuclear in the future. And the best man in the wedding was Lucha Lucky Pierre.
It wasn't Vandal Drummond? Wow.
I think it might have been Vandal Drummond, too.
Oh, really?
I think there were two best men.
Both of you.
If you go on Facebook, you'll see both of them there, and maybe
was there a rivalry for best man in this?
Probably. In fact, I think Vandal Drummond and Lucky Pierre might have to face off in the ring one of these days.
To declare
exactly
the number one best man.
Who was the number one best man?
That should be the name of the show. Number one best man.
Yeah. Who was the topper? I mean, who was the top best man? So, yeah, it was an enjoyable time. I got to see Fizzy's family members who I have not seen in years. And it was a very, very small event, so...
None of the lucha...
No, there was no... I mean, it's not that he didn't want to invite his wrestling friends. He wanted people to know that. It's just... It was a very small affair, and it was really planned about a month ahead of time. Wow. And I was really...
Usually takes 15 months, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, that's Fisico Nuclear for you. He says, okay, let's get this thing going. You know, his house, he's the type like, water heater's broken here. Let me take it out and go buy a new one and install it myself.
Knowing Fisico Nuclear, he just said, let's get this over with.
It was actually really fun because I have never seen him in that element, and I almost understand why he didn't invite more than just a lot of friends, a lot of family, because he was unusually sentimental, incredibly nervous.
Wow.
I've never seen somebody so nervous on their wedding day, and it was also very special because he was the best man at my wedding in 1987, and and there's even video of him giving me a chair shot at that wedding.
Really? Jeez.
I did get to give him an airplane spin at the wedding.
At this wedding?
Yes.
His wedding?
Yes. And anyway, I just want to give out that piece of news. You know, I'm very happy. When he said he was getting married, I was not shocked that he was marrying a man. I was just shocked because he was getting married, period. I never thought I'd see the day where he tied the knot.
I like how I tweet Steve Sims, and I'm like, hey, did you know Jeff was a wrestler? And he's like, I'm like, can you imagine how many people are shocked that he's a wrestler? Because you mentioned his name on the Observer site,
right?
So I just thought, imagine all the people who are just shocked that he's a wrestler, and it happens to be Fisico Nuclear. Like, you know, and Steve reacts. He's like, no, I knew who he was. I think he kind of was just like messing around. He's like,
yeah,
I didn't know he was married, you know, a guy, and I was like, okay. I was like, oh god, you guys are hilarious.
So yeah, it was pretty, I got a wonderful best man's present too.
You can't tell it. You can tell Konnan.
I'll tell Konnan. In fact, and let's just put it this way: I could probably share some of it with Konnan.
Yeah.
So
Konnan would be very happy.
Yes, he would. He would. So if you're listening, Konnan, we all have to get together and
you and Konnan can go on Iran while I rummage through his whatever tape library or whatever.
In fact, here's an idea, Fredo. Colorado and Washington totally rock because they both legalized marijuana. 2 states. California, I thought California was going to be the first state. Honest to God. But once it's legalized, I think we should follow in the footsteps of Brian Alvarez and his friend Vinny and just toke out and just get as high as we possibly can and do a podcast.
I thought you were telling me to go search for a Sasquatch or something.
Well, we could get stoned and do that.
We can do that.
Think about it.
You don't have to be stoned to do that.
I was going to say, but think about it. If we did get really stoned and search for a Sasquatch, we'd probably find one.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless we had some really bad shit and found a Yeti from WCW instead. That would not be good. That would be bad. Very bad. So anyway, that's the really wonderful news. And I guess the really exciting news...
I thought you were going to start with... When you were talking about that, I was like, are you going to talk about AAA? I mean, that's exciting news, but I didn't know it was that big a news for you.
Well, we've all talked about this. And, as you pointed out, there's been lots of... How would you say? False starts. A lot of AAAs coming to town.
And I was told about that, too. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean...
I was kind of refreshed about that whole thing earlier today.
Yeah. Yeah, because for several years we heard AAA is coming to the USA. There's going to be a whole U.S. spin on it, and you kept on wondering, is it just talk?
Usually it was other people involved that kind of screwed it up.
Yep.
The whole Lucha Libre USA thing. Exactly.
A big disaster. But it looks like it's going to be happening, and you know a lot more about it than I do. I've just...
they've been mentioning that it's going to happen, but I mean... They moved over the scheduled start date from what would have been February, March to about second half of 2014.
Right.
So I'm guessing 2015.
That works, as long as it's really in motion.
They added... The news was that Mark Burnett is going to be part of the producing AAA.
Yes.
The show. He's going to partner up with the Rey Network and all that other stuff, and they have other people behind it that
Now the Rey Network is something I'm unfamiliar with. What?
It's like a TV channel,
and
not like the WWE Network. It's an actual channel. It's going to be on television.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Robert Rodriguez is.
The filmmaker.
Yeah, the filmmaker.
Cool.
Yeah. So he's one of the guys who's also involved. There's a bunch of other people that are involved, but I mean, it's like you gotta know all the TV people and all that stuff.
But it's happening to the point that they've made a public announcement about it, and
they're basically going to start. It's going to be all we know right now is that it's going to be a 1 hour show, and a 1 hour weekly show. They're going to start. They kind of made it seem like they're going to do pay-per-views and all this other stuff, specials. They're going to do merchandise, license a lot of stuff. It's a little more. I don't know. It's like, I mean, it's hard to take it because it didn't come from the AAA crew.
Right.
It came from the side of Rey Network and the people who are going to be involved, TV people. So it's like it really isn't a lot of wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan, you're going to be like a little confused with what's going on. It's like because they actually They actually released their idea for the storyline, and the storyline was going to be that 5 AAA wrestlers in Mexico somehow find out that there's a plot, an American plot, to stop Lucha Libre. So they end up getting exiled to the United States.
Oh my God!
So I guess that's what. And at first I thought it was kind of. I mean, the storyline's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. But it's
wrestling. But it's wrestling. It's wrestling. I think it's wrestling. It's wrestling. There's so many bad ideas that end up working.
Yep.
And even the good ones end up being really bad.
And I gotta say, I give it to somebody who is trying something different, even if
Kurt's gonna.
You're gonna hear me collapse right here on the
This is like the Steve Sims show.
on live air. I'm gonna gasp, and I'm getting over a bronchial infection, folks. So if I don't
This is
sound my usual perky self, that's why.
This is like the Steve Sims podcast where he's coughing the whole time.
Or we tried to interview Frankie and Samantha, but Dan was yelling in the background too loud.
Oh yes. That was a good one.
That was funny.
That was one we had to delete right away.
Yes.
What I was saying was, at first I thought, it's kind of ridiculous, but then if you think about it, if they're going to split the two promotions, like the AAA in Mexico and then the show here, and basically the idea is that here it's going to be more American wrestlers, you're not going to have all the wrestlers from AAA come over here immediately. So you're maybe going to start with 5. So you pick the 5 that you would want to start with, which of course, who would your fight be?
We've been from AAA.
Yeah, from AAA.
Straight from AAA. Oh, Christ. Well, Jack Evans.
Jack Evans. Yeah.
I know he's an American.
The Mexican.
But he's an honorary Mexican.
Yeah, but I think everybody who mentioned it all mentioned Jack Evans. But
well, Drago would not go, but Gato Everready would go.
Yeah.
Pimpinela Escarlata.
I think Drago would have to go because Gato Everready would actually be more of a trademarked issue here with Everready. Pimpinella Drago.
Yeah,
you need a couple. You need a couple within the 5, right? You need at least one couple.
Yeah, exactly.
Because remember, like every single TV show you watch, when they're traveling through whatever they're going through, there's always that couple that's always arguing or like has to be together or whatever. Who else? You got 3.
I got 3.
Blue Demon, of course.
You kind of gotta, I guess.
Yeah.
Although I saw a few matches of him in AAA recently. I was actually shocked that he had his working shoes on. I remember him. I didn't picture him getting better. Well, not that he wasn't talented, but I've seen so many times where he just kind of got in there and went through the motions.
And he worked with Macias in one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the matches with Macias. Macias is really good.
Well, they're Macias, of course.
I'm guessing Macias would be the 5th guy you want. No.
Yeah.
You gotta leave somebody good in Mexico.
Somebody has to be good.
I just...
Well, obviously, Konnan, I assume, is going to be...
Yeah, but I'm guessing he's going to be in both. Because if he's going to be one of the bad guys here...
Right.
He'd still be fine being a bad guy in Mexico. Mm-hmm. So it would work. Plus, you need somebody who can explain what lucha libre is. Because if you put like a bunch of guys who don't really know what lucha libre is...
I gotta say that now the way out crazy storyline, you gotta remember... I love Argentina wrestling, so I'm
just curious what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't have the
It could either be really, really horrible, or it could be the most brilliant thing ever made.
I don't have the El Rey Network, so I don't really know.
That's the other thing I was going to ask: is how big a network is the El Rey Network?
Right now, it's like from what I heard, it's on 3. It's on Comcast, Time Warner Cable, and DirecTV.
So I won't get it. Damn it!
You don't have that any of those? I have Dish.
No, we go with Verizon.
Yeah, I have Dish, so it's going to be a while. I'm disappointed. I'm sure they'll probably put it online or something.
Oh yeah, we'll find it somehow.
Or we'll get it by illegal means necessary.
That's right, because we're bad. We're bad.
Yeah, so
we're like George Costanza. Yeah. We're gonna pirate everything.
But basically, what I understood from when I talked to somebody afterwards, they don't really know what's going on either. So it's like it's still one of those till nobody really knows what's going on.
Nobody knows what's going on, but it's happening.
Yeah, they have ideas. Important. They have ideas.
It's beyond the talking stages where they make a public statement saying
it's enough where they're actually worried about stuff, and
yeah, that's good.
It's
better they be worried about stuff than say we're going to take the wrestling world by storm like so many bozos.
Well, the only thing was I kind of found it a little ridiculous when Mark Burnett mentioned that, and it might have not been him. It might have just been part of the press release where he said that wrestling was a $1 billion market.
They're always saying stupid shit.
And I was like, well, that's WWE. You're adding up all the negative numbers? Are you adding the negative numbers for everybody else? Because everybody else is pretty much not making any money.
Right.
Like TNA. Have you seen TNA's merchandise? It's not really that interesting. So they're pay-per-views. I think
I saw other stuff at the 99-cent store or something.
Yeah. So it's still one of those things that's still a work in progress. So.
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Yeah,
I'm really curious. It'll be refreshing to see something new.
I actually thought it would be great if they did a Survivor type show with AAA wrestlers.
Oh God.
Because wouldn't it be hilarious, like, if you just had, like, just the guy, just the way these guys act? Because some of these, basically luchadors are basically what they are but larger than life on television.
Yes, this is true.
Because a lot of these guys are really that crazy in real. They're dying. I mean, they don't die.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Some of the guys are.
I will say it probably would be a reality TV where you wouldn't have to fake it up a bit like they do in most reality TV series.
Yeah, and
although
that's not saying that they're bad people. It's just saying that they really are that. They're like
they're histrionic.
Yeah,
they're outgoing.
It doesn't mean they're bad people or anything. It's just
no. But they wouldn't.
Crazy. They're crazy.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to have directors doctor it up and say, "Hey, be weirder.
Yeah,
let's get wild.
they
Okay, let's plant something over here."
Yeah, like cybernetico. I mean, that guy's crazy.
Well, that's
the Exoticos.
That's going to be great.
Probably Estrella.
That's going to be bitching
on a reality TV show.
Yeah, although I got to tell you that plot of them being exiled, I actually like better than reality TV because there's been so many reality TV between the WWE, the UFC, and
You're not watching Total Divas. I mean, come on.
And no, and then there was that. Oh God! Remember Celebrity Rehab? That's the most. That was the most disturbing.
And that got a lot of that got just taken down because of the whole how many people died from that show.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the hospital died too.
I love how they.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy, even non-celebrities.
They were showing who had died, and they show
Jeff Conaway, of course,
the guy from Alice in Chains, but not. It was I think it was the drummer or something. Mm-hmm. And they showed Jerry Cantrell. And I'm like, Jerry Cantrell ain't dead.
What?
The lead singer now that he's the
Yeah.
Like he's not dead from that. He's fine.
Who showed this?
So one of these ETV shows, they were talking about all the people that and I'm like, why are they showing Jerry Cantrell for Celebrity Rehab? And they mentioned them like, that's not him. That guy's
How
still
bizarre.
Because there was Lane Staley was the most famous Alice in Chains the singer that died.
Yeah.
If you remember. But then the for Celebrity Rehab, another dude died.
For Celebrity Rehab, the biggest name I remember dying was Jeff Conaway. Yeah. I mean, the longest enduring one.
There was actually like 4 or 5 people who died from that. Because chick, the country music singer, died too.
Mindy McCready?
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was on Celebrity
Rehab. I didn't know that either.
It's weird at first.
I watched like one of those shows, and then like afterwards, it's like, how many times can you watch these people just like do the wrong things and like...
Well, and it's and you just got this sense that they're trying to push them into doing wrong things too. It's like, well, they've done so well taking care of themselves. Let's go for a night at the town. Yeah,
and let's put them on television.
Yes. And remember, they'd take them out for a night on the town, and they'd get all.
There was one episode where they took them to like a bar.
What the fuck?
And I was like, why the fuck are they taking them to the bar?
Yeah.
I was like, this is to see if they can handle themselves. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Fuck.
Anybody, like, I don't know, like...
How do you live with your... How does... I used to like that Dr. Drew guy, but how does he live with himself doing that? Yeah. I mean...
I liked him when he was on K-Rock.
I did too. I liked when he was with Ricky Rackman.
Yeah, Ricky Rackman.
Yeah.
Ricky Rackman, man, how disappointing was he in WCW?
Big time. And I
always thought he would... I thought... I remember when people were talking about him going to WCW, I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Because he's actually a good...
I liked him. I thought he was a great host.
Headbangers Ball and all those things he used to host. And I was like, man, this guy's going to be good. And what did they have him doing? Like, just like the weirdest shit, like the spring break stuff, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, no, I remember I was kind of rooting for him because I remember when he left K-Rock and went to that 97.1 talk station.
That channel was depressing.
Oh, it was terrible. But I heard the reason he got fired from there was there were 2 other DJs who kept talking smack about his wife because I guess she was a stripper.
Yeah. Was she a stripper? Was she a porn star? Or
I thought she was a stripper. But I guess he said something to them like, say what you want about me, but lay off my wife. And of course they said more stuff. And I guess he actually went in there and beat the shit out of both of them at the same time. I always thought that's pretty cool.
I think that channel started as half sports. And then it started morphing into like all...
Because it was a classic rock station in LA.
Yeah.
And then it morphed into a talk station. What is it now?
I don't know. I haven't heard. I don't listen to radio anymore.
I'm an old man. I don't listen to
I have iPods and shit like that.
I long for the days of 94.7 KMET Tweedledee.
or KRF 101 or whatever.
That Dr. Demento was something, wasn't he?
But I remember that channel because they started with classic rock. I remember that. And then they went to like this weird like sports. And then like late night it was like these guys who did sports but also talked about rock and roll and stuff like that.
Kind of like a guy thing.
Yeah, kind of like a guy show, kind of like what
an Adam Carolla type of thing.
Yeah, like Spike TV's become like something like that. And then they like started dumping like the people on the bottom because they had this one chick named the Sports Babe who had like this really annoying voice. You could only imagine Sports Babe. So they got rid of that show, and then they started adding some other shows, and then like, all of a sudden they just got rid of the whole. They were starting to do like what was it, like more of a news type of thing. And I was like, yeah, it's pointless.
Yeah.
But I used to listen to that.
Like we don't already have enough talk radio, do we?
There's podcasts now. Why?
Exactly.
There's podcasts for us to listen to.
Exactly.
Complain about.
And there's a podcast where people can listen to us.
Talk about radio.
What, about a dozen to 15 people we have?
We have like at least 12 people listening to this show.
Awesome. Thank you, you dozen.
Yes. I'd like to thank them all.
A luchador's dozen.
I'd like to thank them all individually. We should talk about CMLL because I watched
Absolutely.
I watched FantasticaMania late last night, and you just started
I got to see a few of the matches.
You saw a few of the matches.
Which I enjoyed immensely.
It was actually a fun show.
It was.
I thought that watching it live, because they said it was going to be a 3-hour show, it was not 3 hours. I think it was 90 minutes tops.
Right.
Because, I mean, there was like, between the pre-show, the post-show, the intermission, and then like the walking in and walking out for the wrestlers.
When you were showing it to me, I saw how long you were, speeding it up.
Yeah,
like, let's get to this.
Yeah, because I mean, you almost finished watching the whole show in under an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
You only missed the main event, which was pretty good. It was actually really good.
There was actually the matches I saw were a really good show. Even like the Maximo, match was mostly okay. People have to watch the show just to see Jushin Thunder Liger and Maximo go to the ring together. It's worth the pay-per-view price alone.
It's only $15, so.
Jushin Liger is one of the coolest wrestlers in the history of this business. I mean, he's one of the finest workers ever, and he doesn't take himself
How old is Liger? He's got to be 50, right?
Oh, he's got to be. Yeah. I mean, I remember...
He's no Negro Casas, though.
No Negro Casas.
He's not working at Casas' level now.
No, that's true. That's true. Speaking of which, I know we'll talk more Casas later, but I was on such a high after seeing the Negro Casas Titan match, or Titan match, however, Can I just say Titan Sports?
Titan.
He took on Titan Sports, okay? It got me nostalgic to go look at the Negro Casas Jushin Liger match from, was it 91 or 92? Where Casas came wearing Felino's outfit. I remember the match being really good, but I forgot just how good that match was. That was an awesome match.
And then you watch that he's doing this stuff with the younger guys.
Yes, exactly. And he's still so got it.
Did you see you didn't see the interview he did before the Friday show?
No, I did not.
They were asking him about how long he planned to stick around, and he starts talking about, because it was his birthday. He's 54 now. So he's talking about how he's going to stick around as long as the fans want him around.
Damn.
He's like as long as I'm not doing this just because I'm trying to prove something. I don't have anything to prove. He's like, I've pretty much already done everything in my career. I just do it because I enjoy wrestling all these young guys and showing them that I can still go.
He's one guy. Ever since I saw him, and we talked about this earlier.
He got very emotional too, I should mention.
Did he really? Yeah, That's awesome.
He almost cried.
I
he looks like my grandma. At the same age?
Well, your grandma must be pretty young looking then.
She looks like a badass at 53.
Can she take the bump off the turnbuckle that he does?
No, she probably would take a nap in between that.
She can take a nap
she
without
could take a nap, but she'd be like Que Monito laying in the corner.
That's right. No, don't take that nap. Don't take that nap. It's a dangerous nap to take. You'll have nightmares.
It's a dangerous place to take a nap, Grandma.
No, the very first time I saw Negro Casas, and I lied. I said we'd get into him later, but since we're talking about him now.
Well, we're done with FantasticaMania. How much can you talk about?
Yeah, this is true. True. And the Maximo and Liger entrance was...
It's a good show.
It's a good show, but that entrance was the best thing.
If you have $15 to spare, that's to throw.
It's worth it.
That's worth it. It's not...
Let's put it this way.
I will say the only bad thing is that they mute all the music. So if you're watching Terra.com and you're hearing all the music, and then you go to this, it's like such a... Because a lot of it... Some dude on Brian, on Figure 4, the website, Observer site, mentioned how Mystico, the guy who recapped it, said that Mystico, the new one, didn't have the aura of Sin Cara, the previous Mystico. And I was like, well, the aura, he doesn't have the aura, but at the same time, you don't get that. If that's the first time you're seeing him, and you're basing it off of this show, you're not getting it because they muted the music. They muted the audio. So basically, you're just seeing a guy walk into the ring.
The ring, yeah.
So it's like, okay.
He's already beaten in that sense.
It's like
you're going to judge
it's already like a stupid thing to say.
That is silly.
You got to watch, if you watch CMLL, they don't react to him as well either. So it's like, then if you say it, then I will believe you.
That's when you see the whole package.
Yeah, that's when you see, like, okay, he's not.
Now, I'm assuming they blanked out the music because of copyright issues, I would assume.
But the weird thing is that New Japan, some of their guys, their music gets muted out too.
Oh.
So you think, why don't they just do all their own music? I mean, this is a company.
Yeah,
they have a company behind them. I mean, it's not like it's just you and me like throwing out money like because we have like $1 million bucks to throw around.
Well, hey, and Titanis in the ring, when a wrestler didn't have their own theme song, they played the Spartacus theme. You know what they should do, since they own the Ricky Shoshu theme? They should just have everybody come out to the Ricky Shoshu, the dun 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 dun, and they all have to wear white boots.
They should have Keyboard Cat play the music. Did you ever hear that?
Keyboard Cat?
Yeah, the Keyboard Cat.
Oh, is that one of those little videos that went viral?
Yeah, that became viral like for years.
I love it.
You never saw that?
I never saw that.
Oh my goodness. I'll show it to you later.
The first time I can remember something kind of going viral was pre-YouTube when, in fact, it was your sister Judy showing me the dancing baby from Ally McBeal that went viral.
Oh wow, that's a long
phones.
time ago. That was like 15 years ago, wasn't it?
Longer than that. When did I met your sis in '97?
Yeah,
and I remember. I think it was like the first few months.
I was in elementary school back then. I just had to throw that in.
I was going into the retirement home at that time. Yeah, so Fredo's gonna call that up. So while he's doing that, I'm saying the first time I ever saw Negro Casas was in 1985. I had seen his pick in the Lucha mags, because remember when they were really young, he and a really young Forza had a feud on top that was just starting. And but at the Olympic Auditorium in '85, they had a lucha show where they flew in a lot of guys. In many ways, the show was a disaster, not because they didn't have a talented crew, but some bonehead got a boxing ring instead of a wrestling ring. And when I mean a boxing ring, I just don't mean the ring was hard. I mean the ring had 4 ropes, and they are 4 ropes that were loose. We're talking lucha, loose ropes. And of the wrestlers who kind of saved the day, because a lot of wrestlers, I think, were more annoyed by it and didn't want to take hard bumps on the boxing. Although the rings are pretty hard in Mexico back then. But Super Astro saved it by doing one of the most ballsiest topes I ever seen him do, and we're talking Super Astro, where somebody backflipped him over the.
That dude was crazy too. There was
yes,
guy who was crazy as.
But what I'll never forget, there was an 8-man tag, and I can't remember all the contestants, but Tinieblas and Hijo de Santo were on one team, and Casas was on the other. And so here's this little welterweight of a guy. You know, he's smaller than, aside from Santo, he's smaller than most of the guys. But he did something I never seen anybody do before or since. He actually made Tinieblas look good. I'm talking Tinieblas Sr.
Actually, there was another person who made him look good.
Who's that?
You're forgetting him. Aluche.
I stand corrected. Yes.
Second.
Alushi makes it worth seeing Tinieblas.
Yes.
I would go see Tinieblas to see Alushi. And that, Mary Lou Farron is another person.
Yeah. Alushi was awesome.
As long as Alushi is there, Mary Lou Farron will go see Tinieblas. But they did this great high spot. And of course, Tinieblas was kind of sort of moving. And Casas was going off those loose ropes and just making it look like he's going to do this big power, big flying power move. But then Tinieblas just stands really tall in the ring and stares at him. And Casas runs to where his face is like against Tinieblas' belly. And then he just looks up at his face and then looks like he passes out cold from the... And then I saw him do the spots with Santo where I saw him do the patented Negro Casas bump.
Yeah, the one you do too now.
Exactly. And from that day on, he was my favorite wrestler, bar none. That's been my favorite. Him along with Manami Toyota are my two favorite wrestlers ever.
Let me play Keyboard Cat.
Okay, Keyboard Cat. Listen, guys, it's going to be a Keyboard Cat.
What should be like the wrong video?
Charlie Schmidt's Keyboard Cat. It's the original, too. So this isn't like Toonces the Driving Cat from Saturday Night Live.
They added an ad.
Oh, Christ.
We better mute the ad.
Today is pretty great. Is that a car they're advertising?
Yeah, they're advertising a car. This is the.
They have these great ads, but you never know what they're trying to sell. The ad looks cool, but skeletons. Oh, La Parca's driving. La Parca.
They got the Televisa technology.
La Parca, you need to sue Honda. They're using your image in their commercial. Parca, go get them. La Parca's a hippie, so I love him.
Parca. What's going on? It's not starting. Oh, there we go.
Come on, Keyboard Cat. Oh, too cool. I like your idea, Fredo. This is good
Wouldn't
entrance
this be
music.
a good intro to like every single CMLL wrestler? Have Keyboard Cat play all the intros.
I love it. I love the expression on that cat's face. I wish you guys could see this.
They've seen it. You're probably the only person who's never seen
This is like a more innocent version of Two Girls, One Cup.
Oh, there he is. He's getting jazzy now.
Freeform?
This is probably something that some dude did like in 1979. Remember when people used to do worse shit back then? Like the.
Do you remember the famous Saturday Night Live where they dressed all the parrots up to do movie roles? And they looked like they were so uncomfortable. It was funny, but it was kind of like, yeah. I'm glad I'm not that birdie.
Kurt's just like Dave Meltzer with the not watching anything. Kurt hasn't seen anything recent lately, right? You skipped over.
There's so many things I've skipped over. You know, I'm still taking a vacation in my own mind.
Did you hear when Dave Meltzer was talking about the WWE Network? He's talking about how the network will be available for the PS3 and the PS4, but they still haven't discussed whether or not it'll be available on the PS1 and PS2.
Really?
Do you understand that?
I have no idea what that means.
PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2,
So you gotta remember...
They have no networking capabilities.
Wow. You gotta understand, the last game I played was Doom on the computer in 1997 or so.
Don't you have a Wii?
Did you? Well, we don't use it. What are we going to use it for?
Did you get that as a gift or something? Did you guys buy it?
Elena got it. She uses it occasionally, but I used it once just for the novelty effect.
I can only imagine she brings out the Wii and you're like, what is this? What is this? She has you the stick.
I did play the skiing thing and I purposely wiped out just to see what it looks like.
But isn't it? Have you ever played games with kids and like these video games and they expect you to like be really good at it? And it's like, you're not good at it.
What blew my mind was, remember a couple of years ago that day I came over and your nieces were there and these two girls knew how to master a cell phone.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there staring at them like, they have it down.
Yeah,
they're
the
kids.
iPods and all
they're
that
little
stuff.
kids and they have it mastered.
Whereas our cell phone basically is just getting calls and stuff.
Text. Yeah, text is a new thing for me.
And you don't have an iPhone. I thought you had an iPhone.
I have the Android. I don't have the big smartphone yet. I can't watch all of Breaking Bad at work in one day.
I was at for Christmas. I was at a family get together, and my cousin brings his phone. And he's showing us videos on it. And I'm like, holy shit, the phone is huge. It's like, wasn't the whole idea that the phone should be smaller? Like, wasn't that the big thing back then?
That's true.
That was the whole idea. Like,
yeah, I can remember when cell phones were these big clunky things that you could use as a foreign object.
Yeah. Like Polly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was a great ad from WCW. So Negro Casas, still cooking, and Titan. I saw that match, and I
didn't watch the Volador match.
I just watched.
It wasn't as good as the Titan match.
Yeah, the Volador match I watched was. Remember, I had asked you if it was the most recent one or the older one. You said this was the most recent one, not the better.
Because you said he had a towel, right? He was choking him with.
Yeah,
the
he
towel.
chokes him at the beginning with the towel. I think he won with a foul at the end at the third fall.
It
was good. It was good, but it wasn't.
The one from December, he's wearing a hoodie. Volador's wearing a hoodie, and Negro Casas covers him up covers his face up with a
see
hoodie.
that.
And then he wins the first fall, choking him out with the hoodie.
And
he just celebrates the whole thing. And then in that match, Zacharias the Parrot, he does a Hurricane Rana on Volador Jr.
Oh, sweet.
to the outside, and then he gets super kicked by Volador Jr.
I must see that.
Which I hope he's okay, because he suffered a head injury on Saturday. He's out for 15 days.
Do we know the story behind his head injury? What exactly happened?
It was a private show, so nobody's going to tell us.
A private show?
It's a private show.
So they're doing things other than wrestling now?
They do private shows. Like, I think people rent out the Arena Mexico, and they have...
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they had private dances.
He could be doing that.
Is Zacharias lap dance?
If you're Facebook friends with him, you notice that he likes to take pictures of himself posing in just his pants and shirtless.
How about Amapola?
What about her?
Does she take pictures like that?
She didn't do that.
Aww.
Did you watch the Marcella?
I did not see that.
What was it? Marcella and Princesa Suhei, right?
Yeah, I saw the matches after that on the one on Terra, right?
Yeah.
No, I caught it right at the end.
You said it was a good show, and you didn't even watch that match. That was like the only good match.
The show after was good. The one with the Peste Negra.
Yeah, you liked that?
I dug it. I mean, yeah, nothing that I'm gonna remember for tens of thousands of years.
What was your favorite match?
It was that match.
I don't remember.
I watched 2 matches, and that was the one I remember the most. I just love Peste Negra.
Yeah,
they're just so awesome.
What was the one I was going to tell? Have you? Did you see Estrellita? She dresses now. She dressed as a cop. Yeah, she looks a lot better now that she lost some weight for the bodybuilding thing, and then she dressed as the schoolgirl the second week, and then she went with what was it? A nurse.
A nurse. I like the cop best.
The cop was the best one. The other two weren't.
Does she have a baton? Does she hit people with it?
I don't know, but it's funny because her work in the ring, she'll give you like this 90-second burst of energy, and then like the rest of the
and
match,
then that's it. The battery's gone.
It's like, oh, okay.
There's no Energizer Bunny in there.
It's funny because you have this weird like there's Marcella, Amapola, and then Dark Angel I would put in that group, but then everybody else is kind of like you kind of don't get like consistency out of them.
No, that's true. That's true. I was
my Observer ballot. For our worst match of the year, I wrote, insert women's match here. I couldn't remember. I just figured, because there's a lot of bad women.
There are some bad ones.
Yeah.
There's some good women wrestlers, though. I mean, it's not like every woman there's...
Oh, no. That's the only thing I felt bad. I was like, there's actually some good female wrestlers, but it's like, it's the Observer. They don't really give awards for women anyways. Like, a lot of it, I think
the only woman to win an award, well, didn't Manami Toyota get Wrestler of the Year once?
It has to be a big promotion, and All Japan... It has to be a promotion that is in Dave's mind, and he mentions it or writes about it.
Right.
And if it's not in his what he writes about, it's not going to get anything.
Although I am surprised, I think it's been like, when did I last vote? I voted last year. I didn't get around to
70s.
I used to religiously send in my polls.
I'm very inconsistent.
I'm sporadic.
Yeah, that's
now.
how I am.
But I was actually pleasantly surprised to see how, like, they weren't winners, but runners, people in the running were from both CMLL and AAA. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised to see that some of the sheet readers actually are watching a variety of stuff. But
not enough. Just kidding. They should be winning all the awards.
That's right. Awards. No, they should win awards for only things I watch.
Yes, only the things I watch.
Yeah.
Who's this Daniel Bryan they're talking about? Actually, I do watch WWE. I can't even lie about that. People listening already know it. One of these days I'll watch Raw. It'll be a cold day in hell. Impact, no chance for Impact.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, if we clip out on you, it's because there's a low battery, so...
Oh, is it a low battery?
That's what it says.
Uh-oh.
Low battery. Well...
Do you want to stop and then put the battery in?
Shall we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go ahead. Like I was saying...
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, but Fredo, you're saying that... Okay, when they do the legalized marijuana, you're saying you'll be cool with it, but you want to be able to take 2 Ambien when we do the podcast, too?
Sorry.
You do remember what Ambien did to me,
So, Kurt, are you saying you're going to illegally stream the WWE Network? because $9.99.
No.
Too expensive for you.
you heard me incorrectly. I'm going to do illegal dreams. I'm going to dream about watching WWE Network and not paying for it.
Well, I think it's funny because we were talking about while we were off. We were talking about the WWE Network, and I think it's great for like people who haven't seen all that stuff. But I mean, I think we've probably seen everything.
And when I'm not certain. Do you see? I don't see more casual fans romping around to buy it.
I think they will if they see that it's the pay-per-views. You could get it the pay-per-view for $9.99 for the whole thing, and they eliminate pay-per-views and stuff like that. Because I think they're going to lose.
Because there's not going to be a surcharge for pay-per-views. It'll just come with the package.
Yeah, the first one's coming with the package, so
that's
WrestleMania. So I mean, this will be the first WrestleMania I watched. And what was the last time we saw? Like with Sophia? No, actually, I saw one like 2 years ago. I think.
I can't remember the last one.
The
I
one
saw.
with Undertaker.
The
one with Undertaker.
The one with Undertaker where he
wins.
He kept his streak going.
Make it a little. It's like when people ask you, "Do you remember that guy?" What guy? The guy with the hair and the glasses. And it's like, oh, what guy?
And the bleach blonde hair.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
No, I think it was the one.
I remember he'd stand up on the second turnbuckle and wave at the audience.
I watched the one where Rock versus Cena was. No, it was the one before that I watched. No, it might have been the Rock versus Cena because I remember I even did a recap of it on the.
That's how
website.
Good my short-term.
But then we actually saw one with at Sophia's house.
I remember that one. That was a fun one. That was one of the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels matches.
Wasn't it a triple? Was it Shawn Michaels? Yeah, it was Shawn Michaels.
I think that was the one where.
Because they wrestled twice, didn't they?
They did, 2 in a row. And I think, if I remember correctly, that was the one where Taker did the tope, where they had the cameraman there.
I think one of them was CM Punk, wasn't it, or something like that?
Was it really? I didn't know that. I love it.
I'm making it up. I don't know.
You're high.
I won't be needing your stash to talk about wrestling.
No, well, as I was telling you during the break, I'm such a dork. I'd buy the channel just to see the old '70s TV tapings where you'd see Bob Backlund versus some hairy jobber with a concave chest and who couldn't take a simple 3/4 roll. Or
I want to watch like WCW Saturday Night if they ever put that up.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
The crappy years, like
the last couple years. Some fun Hacksaw Duggan action.
Because I remember, like people, like we were getting very nostalgic online about that stuff, and a lot of people forget how much fun that show was compared to like Nitro and Thunder, how bad it was.
You know, one of the things I really liked about that show, and again, this is being an older person, is it reminded me of what wrestling was like when I watched it when I was a kid. How you turned on Saturday Night Wrestling. It wasn't like you're watching every pay-per-view or it's just Saturday Night Wrestling's on.
I like that thing where they would open the doors, like the space, like they were coming out of a spaceship.
Exactly,
like
the big futuristic thing.
Yeah, like you just see it as like, oh god, come on. Or like, and then you would see the backstage, and the backstage would just be a normal backstage. Like I think that was the one time they showed backstage was when they were. It was either when Hacksaw Jim Duggan was trying to collect the TV title or something from the trash. And then there was another time where it was the Armstrongs trying to check on Brad Armstrong.
He was so fun.
Yeah.
I don't care what era of Hacksaw Duggan it was.
He was horrible in the ring, though. But
he was fun.
Yeah.
He was fun. Yeah. It's like
I actually dug post-cancer Hacksaw Jim Duggan was fun. Mm-hmm. That was the WCW Saturday Night run.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he's one of those guys. Well, he's one of those examples that I talk about, like. You know, especially as I get older and I see more people like my age kind of hobbling around or saying, you know, oh, I was an indie worker for 15 years. I have to get back surgery. I have to get a new replacement. I have much more of an appreciation of people who could slap on a headlock and get that over for 3 or 4 minutes before going into a high spot. And that's one of the things I liked about Duggan. Yeah, his matches were pretty simple things.
Yeah.
But I was always entertained, even when I was a wrestling snob back in the 80s.
And when you meet people who started watching wrestling in the 90s, who thought he was like crap, and then you tell them, no, you should watch his Mid-South stuff, and they're like, oh my god, this guy's amazing.
And it's not that he didn't work hard. He worked hard in Mid-South, but it's not like he was this super diverse guy. He was Hacksaw Duggan. He was just fucking fun.
You know, it's funny, like, they're talking about all this stuff that they're going to have on the network. Mm-hmm. You know, all these fans are like, oh, sign me up. This is great. And then, like, there's me, who's like, I have that. I have I've seen that. I have that. I've seen that. And it's like, oh, crap. But I would probably still sign up because there's so much other stuff. For $9.99, I mean...
I think I am... I think I am going to get the first 6 months. Just, I usually don't buy into these kinds of things.
Because you don't have time
fun.
either. Like,
I don't have time, but this is such a different...
Yeah.
Well, kind of like the AAA thing. This is something so different. I want to check it out. I'll probably cancel after 6 months, unless it's totally
we
bitching.
should probably talk about the sad news. Actually, there was there were a couple.
There were several really sad stories
during the holidays. Payaso Coco Blanco passed away.
Yes,
which I'm not even sure what he died from, but I know he passed away.
It almost seemed like they didn't have the info, or they didn't want to give the info.
Some guys just die, and you really don't. I'm sure they mentioned it, but I just can't remember right now. And one of the guys who's been a staff member for AAA for years,
Nuñez, right?
Yeah, Jesus. I think his name is Jesus Nuñez.
Yeah,
yeah. He passed away. He was actually, what a lot of people don't realize was that he was actually with
Pena. He was his lover, wasn't he?
He was his partner for a life partner, and people never really got that, like. Until I
never knew that till I heard the story.
I actually had heard about it years ago, but it wasn't something when you're not really thinking about this stuff, it's not something that's gonna
Well, plus Antonio Pena, even when they did say something, he was like the Jim Barnett of the day. If somebody got a push, all the pissed inferiors would say, "Well, you know how he got that job."
Yeah, especially when you got Intocable and.
Right.
And Niño de la Calle and all those guys that immediately people would start with that. Right. You really don't know because, you're just making an assumption and don't really know the
exactly.
person. Then there was Ari El Gato Romero.
That's the one that in different ways hit both you and me pretty hard. Yeah,
I got actually, I heard from, I can't remember, somebody sent me somebody posted it on Twitter that he had passed away. And then his son sent me an email telling me that his dad had passed away.
It was December 29th was when he passed, I think.
He died from cancer.
Yeah. Pneumonia.
Respiratory problems.
Because it was liver cancer, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was battling cancer.
Which one is not an easy one to beat. That's really... that does not have a high survival rate.
They just did a tribute show for him this past Sunday.
I heard about that, yes. And chemo, your immune system is so shot that I was sad to hear it. And what was so special to me about Ari Romero was I remember back in 1989 when Red Bastien was doing the Win promotion in San Bernardino. That was when I first knew Konnan, and who else did? Like Pat Hood and Dan Farron all had some sort of contact with him. And...
I know what your contact was with him.
What?
You both like to travel to Iran, right?
What?
Was that it? Were you his dealer? No? Admit it on this podcast.
Okay.
No?
I sold him Bic pens. Yeah. And they didn't leak. That was the best part. None of my pens ever leaked. I also sold him some Peter North tapes, but those leaked.
But never any pot.
No, oh God, marijuana? No, that's disgusting. Yeah. I'd like to get a bong sound effect, so...
You just have to go, do a podcast from Konnan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I always love how you hear that bong. And I think if I took that bong as often as he did, I would be, slurring my words worse than I do already.
Why when you hear him tell stories, you can't really get too upset about it. It's him being high, He's gonna...
Yeah.
He's gonna say some stuff that he's probably gonna regret saying.
For Christ's sake, it's marijuana. It's not methamphetamine. It's not pharmaceuticals, which are killing people right and left. It's marijuana, which should never...
Okay, Kurt, back to your story. Don't go on your Jim Cornette type of rant on the pharmaceutical.
Yeah, I'm going on my Griggs and Timothy Leary soapbox here. Legalize it. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll move on. No, the day we met Ari Romero was actually a really special day. It was Pat Hood and Fizzy and Steve Gerber and I all did the Viva La Lucha newsletter, and Steve Gerber's another person we lost in 2013.
Gee.
Sadly. But
did you remind Dan Farron? Did you remind Dan?
Dan told. That's how I found out about it. Was from.
No, I mean, did you have to remind Dan Farron afterwards? Remember when he was talking about how so many people passed away?
Oh yes, that's right.
Did you remind him on that one too?
Oh, that's right. I
add an extra.
Yeah, for the people listening, Dan was saying, "Wow, 4 people who kind of like were I either knew or looked up to." Just passed away in a few days' time. I'm going, oh yeah, that one baseball player from the Orioles. Goes, okay, 5. You had to remind me, huh? That's what that's all about. Yeah. No, anyway, so it was Pat Hood, Steve Gerber, Fizzy, and I would go to San Bernardino Arena for the Win tapings. And what was really cool is when we did that newsletter, Konnan was like totally awesome and would introduce us to all the guys, Parata Morgan and all of them. And the first time we went to the Win tapings, we had seen Ari Romero teaming with Crazy 33.
Yeah, another good work.
Oh my God, that guy was great. What a great heel he was.
Yeah.
And a few months before that, Steve Gerber and I went to Tijuana, and we became huge Ari El Gato Romero fans, not even because of his match, but because he was Negro Casas' second in a welterweight title match against Tornado Negro, the original Tornado Negro, who is on Facebook. I think it's Tornado Ruiz now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sure, now you got him.
He's a good worker.
His stalkers are going to find him.
Yes. Or he has such a cult following.
Yes, he has a cult following. They're all stalking him now.
The one time I actually wrestled on a show he was on, I didn't have my gear, and Fizzy had his gear, but he couldn't work because he was hurt. So he had me these, like, remember the cycling trunks that were fashionable for wrestlers in the early 90s? But they were like leopard spots.
Oh, jeez.
And I said, well, I guess, and so I'm in the dressing room, and Tornado Negro looks at me and goes, oh, Konnan? And I just looked at him offended and said, no, Konnancito, thank you very much. But the story of the match was there were no seconds in their corners. At least I don't think there was. Maybe there were seconds, but Ari Romero came out as Negro Casas' special, unapproved, unofficial second. Mm-hmm. And think of it, Ari Romero and Negro Casas, 2 of the funniest tricksters in wrestling. Guys who are just plain funny.
Yeah.
And Aro's harassing of Tornado Negro and coaching Negro Casas. Casas gets the first fall. And it looks like Tornado Negro is going to go down 2 straight falls. When who runs out to his aid to be his unofficial second, but Pero Aguayo.
Oh, wow.
And the place popped insanely because it was Pero Aguayo. And he cheers Tornado Negro on to kick Casas' ass in that second fall. And after Casas loses the fall, Ari Romero was throwing a fit, screaming at the referee, it's a misjustice, it's an injustice, it's an injustice. And Casas has his head bowed like a pouty child with the boo-boo lip and everything. Yeah. And as Romero is shouting at the referee, Casas taps Romero on the shoulder, and he looks sad. He just points to the dressing room like, I want to go back. I don't want to wrestle anymore. and Romero looks at him like, are you crazy? What's wrong with you? And it was, we couldn't even hear what they were saying.
Yeah, just the way they were doing it.
You didn't even need to hear what they were saying. I became, and I think Steve became a huge Romero fan just because of that. And Tornado Negro beats Negro Casas, gets the title, and then later that night, Romero and Aguayo are involved in a 6-man, and you could see what's coming is Romero just destroys Aguayo and splits him open, and as Aguayo does...
Yeah, your typical Aguayo match.
Yeah, he's the king. A lot of blood. He's the king of blood and sympathy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Konnan introduced us to Romero because when we went to the Win tapings that second time, we said we would love to... 1, we just want to meet Romero, and 2, we'd love to interview this guy. And so Konnan actually went up to him and introduced us all and told him what we were doing. And I'll never forget it. Romero says, oh, okay, you might excuse my English is not that good. But then as he starts talking, his English was great. I mean, it was very heavy accent, but no mistaking what he's saying. And he's really, really nice to us. I mean, we're just a bunch of newsletter geeks. And what kind of moved us even more is if we would see him a few months later, like at Auditorio Tijuana, yeah, I mean, he'd just welcome you like old friends.
Really? Wow.
That kind of, I mean, very nice. And then that was when I'd talk to Konnan on a regular basis, and every now and then he says, oh, Ari wanted me to tell you guys hi and just how you guys are doing and stuff. And
oh, cool.
So he looked like a really fun person. And the other reason it's really special is that one day at San Bernardino Arena, I met a whole slew of people who I'm friends with today. Like, obviously, I already knew Pat, Steve, and Fizzy, but on that day, I met Dan Farron, Mary Lou Farron, Danny Wolf, Gary Sparrow, Johnny Legend.
That's how long you've known Sparrow?
Yes.
Wow.
He's been how do you say, Danny Wolf's sidekick for many, 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 many years. I met Greg Regalado, who
Did you meet Augie that day too, or Augie's
No, I met... When did I meet Augie?
I could imagine Augie being there and like talking about what you guys were wearing that day.
He'd remember. He would remember. He would.
I'll just leave it at that because he's a funny guy.
He's a funny guy. Yeah. He's like, you're wearing that same thing that you wore 20 years ago. Do you ever wash it?
Yeah, I just don't want to mention who he would say that about.
No, we'll skip that part. But that was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's probably something we should have said post-show.
But yeah, Greg Regalado, who was, I think he works for UPS now, and would love to know what he's doing. Greg Regalado.
Dan Farron grew up to become MPW champion.
That's right, and champion and commissioner at the same time.
He retired.
Greg Regalado was an awesome worker, despite the fact that I was the first one to train him. He still turned out to be a great, a natural. I'm glad he didn't get into business.
Did you scream at him when he screwed up?
What's that?
Did you scream at him when he
I
screwed
don't
up?
think I ever did.
No?
Because you know how volatile and hot-tempered I am, you know?
No!
Don't do it like that!
Bring out a ruler and slap, you know?
Yeah, I didn't even scream at Fisico when I was first training him, and he did a slap that damn near broke my jaw.
Did you like training? Did you like training people, or was it just something you just did?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. Especially if it's somebody who was new and, you know... I don't think I'd like to train somebody who wanted to really, really get into business, because I don't think I'd...
So you haven't thought of starting Vandal Drummond's wrestling school?
Hell no.
School of soft kicks.
Soft kicks, light working, you know...
How to get by with the basics.
I wouldn't have hardcore matches. I'd have soft core matches where you beat each other with Nerf bats and that kind of thing. And, you know, you smack each other politely, you know?
You'd have mirrors so everybody could do promos.
Yes. Tom Lehrer, you know, let's fight fiercely, Harvard. Let's fight fiercely.
Have them read poetry.
No, I love teaching Mexican style because I was trained lucha style, and I love showing other people what I knew. Mm-hmm. I could only teach them the very basics, and then... But, like, both Fizzy and Greg would start going to the classes taught by, like, Chacal Rivera and those guys, and, you know...
And then they were like, man, what is Kurt teaching us?
Yeah. Why are we bothering with him?
Why are we bothering with Kurt?
No, but at first, Fizzy didn't know it, because Fizzy's a little dude, but he's a lot stronger.
You didn't think of becoming the Murcielago, the Diablo Velasco of Los Angeles? That didn't cross your mind?
Oh, God, I'd probably be more like the spaceman Frank Hickey of Los Angeles. I think that's more apt.
Diablo Velasco, Kurt Brown, trainer to the stars. You could have like John
Melo Diablo Brown.
John Cena, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Superboy. All these guys that you could have trained.
When I introduced Dave Meltzer to Konnan in Tijuana, and I said, hey, Konnan, this is Gemelo Diablo number 3. And Konnan just laughed, and Dave... He didn't get the joke at first until I sent him a photo from Cauliflower, and I put a goatee on him like the Gemelo Diablo, and he got a kick out of that.
Oh, jeez.
But, you know, Romero...
He's the guy you watched wrestle like long before that, didn't you, on television?
I first saw him in 1979.
He wrestled in L.A.
And you can find stuff of him on YouTube.
I have a video. I think that's the one I have. That's
the one of him and Colosso Colosetti.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's...
You know what was really fun about watching him in 1979 is interesting. He had a full head of hair.
He had a lot of hair.
And he was a babyface.
And he didn't have facial hair.
No
either.
facial hair.
Yeah.
And when he was in there with American-style wrestlers, he wasn't bad, but you could tell he was still new.
Yeah.
I don't know when he started wrestling. I think somebody said it was...
Mid-70s, probably. Early 70s.
Yeah. I mean, he was green, but you could tell he was good. But what was really fun is when he'd wrestle somebody like Colosso Colosetti, or there's a specific match I remember in San Bernardino in December of that year where he teamed with Ryuma Go against the Twin Devils.
Oh, really?
And it was really fun because the Twin Devils in that match wrestled straight Mexican style. And even though you saw a lot of Mexican wrestlers, you didn't see like pure Mexican style mat work and high spots. And it was really fun to... I'll never forget it. Romero did a sequence with one of the Gemelos, and it was just a beautiful sequence. You could tell he was definitely following their lead, that he was being mentored. But I'll never forget after... it was a combination of some mat work and a couple of high spots out of the turnbuckles, and just the whole place erupted in applause.
He looked like he was a good worker at a young age.
He was, yeah. Totally.
Because I remember when I saw the video, I was like, I think we talked that week. And I didn't know Ari Romero wrestled here at a young age, and you were the one that was telling me about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because my first experience seeing Ari Romero was in Juarez.
Well, that was surprising. The next time I saw him was in 1981 when they were... I forget who was running. Somebody was running at the Olympic regularly.
Uh-huh.
In fact, that was the promotion. Remember a few years ago on YouTube when somebody uploaded...
Jelly Beans?
Jelly Beans,
yeah.
Yes. He uploaded some matches that actually aired on TV.
And I think I showed you that email I got, or that message I got. I can now understand why Jelly Beans would take that site.
Yeah.
Like if you think if there's
probably some indie moron who saw himself on there wanted a cut
of YouTube dollars, YouTube pesos.
And I can picture it's some dork who says, "Hey, you know these people who put videos on YouTube are making millions of dollars and we're not getting anything."
All you have to do is look at the view count, and if it's not getting a lot of views, you're not making any money.
Goddamn idiots! Yeah. And it's a shame. I really wish I think I
only saved like a something like with. I think it was like a Budokan on it.
Oh, no way.
Luchador, and I was like, why am I...
Not Al Murrieta. Yeah. It had to be Budokan. Yeah, you had to say Budokan and not Al Murrieta.
Well, we met... Because I met Budokan, so I remember him.
Budo's actually a very nice guy.
He's really nice.
He is a good guy.
Yeah.
But...
Back to 81.
I remember, they were drawing really well. They had TV on Channel 18 at the Olympic. They ran on Channel 18, which isn't one of the stronger channels, but still several thousand people every Friday.
Wow.
Yeah, for what they had, they do really well. And I remember there was a six-man tag, and Kung Fu was on the Technicals team, and I saw the name Ari Romero, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I haven't seen him in ages. And that was the first time I saw him with the shaved head. And he must have just lost his hair in a Puestas match, because when he got in there, everybody was rubbing his head and he was grinning like it was really funny.
But he was still kind of young, though.
He was young. Yeah. It was the first time I saw him as a heel, and boy, was he more fitting in that role. And what I'll never forget is Kung Fu had the nunchucks and this beautiful demonstration with his nunchucks, and Ari Romero puts his hands out. Here, give me those nunchucks. I'll show you how it's done. And he does a couple of really nice flips and then just bashes himself in the head and takes a bump for himself.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh my God, I would never guess this is the Romero from 2 years ago who was the very... I mean, he looked like very...
Yeah, he looked like he was nervous. Like he was like a young guy. He looked...
Because is the match that you have up the one of him against Colosetti?
I think it is that one. I can't remember.
Yeah, that
because I know I have a match with
I recommend watching it. It's worth checking out.
But
he
in Juarez he just completely changed to being like this evil heel. Like just an absolute vicious.
In fact, I want you to take over on that. But the first thing I want to say is when we interviewed him that time, he credited Gory Guerrero as being the person who brought out his, how would you say, his inner Rudo.
Well, and you kind of figure because he was with Cavernario Galindo and all those guys. He was the one that.
And I'll never forget the way he told us. I guess he went to war when Guerrero was promoting. Did Guerrero promote Juarez or was it
Juarez and El Paso? With
so I was right in both times.
Gory, it was split between him and Terry Funk because Terry Funk, the Funk brothers. I mean, not Terry, the Funk family. They ran Amarillo, and then they also ran West Texas. Okay. But then it was with Gory Guerrero. And then Gory Guerrero took over afterwards. So
when Dan and I did our little short podcast right after he passed away, I was right both times. I said I couldn't remember if he promoted in El Paso or Juarez. I was right on both.
Yeah, it was both, but it became more Juarez than El Paso afterwards.
Gotcha.
As the years went on, it was more Juarez.
But he said that, I guess he went there initially as a babyface, and he said Gory Guerrero just shook his head at him and says, no, you're not a Technico. You know why? And he says, why is that? You have a son of a bitch face.
Yes.
And I just love the way, I hope I have that tape somewhere, the way he said it.
There's so many like wrestlers, and I think that's what's missing with a lot of wrestling, that they let the wrestlers decide what they're going to be. Or somebody picks the wrong thing. There's some guys...
Or they have them wrestle a certain style that's not equipped to them.
And you look at these guys like, this guy should be a heel, or like this guy... Like, we're talking about Volador Jr. Volador Jr. should be a heel. I don't care if he's a good-looking dude. He's got a heel look to him. I agree. He's not a babyface, and like we said, Casas probably could be a babyface because he's a legend already.
Yeah. See, I think there's the Ric Flair syndrome with Casas.
But Casas is really good no matter what.
Well, he's good no matter what, but nobody's going to ever hate him again. Yeah. No matter what he does.
He just commits a foul and the fans cheer for him because that's the way he is. He knows that's what he is.
When I saw that match of him just making the ring entrance when he wrestled Titan, I just thought, damn, this guy still has it.
Did you see the Torneo Cibernetico?
No.
The ones leading the land of...
No. Didn't see any of those.
They have Averno. Talk about a guy who's a heel. Averno. They're introducing the heels to one song. So all the heels have to walk in line. So the first guy coming in is, I think he might be the first or second guy, is Averno. And he's doing the slowest walk to the ring.
Really?
Because he's doing the whole, being a badass, just really slowly. So he's
milking it.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That's awesome.
And everybody else is in the back, just walking, trying to get, dude, hurry up. That's hilarious. And so it's when is the show going to start? Because this guy's walking so slow.
Picture Benny Hill beating him in a foot race.
There's a lot of guys, we were just watching Niebla Roja and... FantasticaMania.
Yes,
he didn't. I mean, he looked very generic as a babyface, but as a heel, he actually shows a little more than he did as the way he works. He works better as a heel.
Yeah, and
problem is there's a lot of guys who aren't very good.
And on the flip side, I've seen so many guys, and I'm talking indie guys. I'm not talking guys in CMLL, but everybody so badly wants to be a heel that there are people who are natural faces who should embrace it. And it's it almost seems like a bratty kid saying, I want to be the bad guy. I want to have, But, so I was talking about Romero and his son of a bitch face, and so that's a perfect segue because you saw Romero early as a wrestling fan when you were a wrestling fan.
When I was a little kid, he was one of the guys I actually enjoyed watching wrestling, because I think at the time I was watching, El Paso had a lot of wrestling in the mid 80s. So you had Mid South Wrestling, you had WWF, which is not WWE, NWA. We even had Florida for a bit, for a month.
We did Florida, too at one point,
which was cool. But it's weird because I didn't get Kevin Sullivan when he was a heel. I got him when he was a heel, but still a crazy heel. He was losing his mind. Remember, he would do the whole Bobby Jack window, all these weird stuff, and it was talking about Black Jack Mulligan, and it was this weird. It wasn't Kevin Sullivan, the devil. So, I think the heel I was most into was Ric Flair, but Ric Flair wasn't Ric Flair was a very classy looking heel.
Yeah. And that was also at the point where Ric Flair was a cuddly heel. Nobody really hated him.
Yeah, and he was the Horsemen. Horsemen were really cool back then. But then you had we also got Lucha. So we're getting Arena Mexico or Arena Coliseo. And the other show would be Juarez, which looked like this. It looked like if you watched it compared to now, you'd be like, man, that place looks like a dump, because it would just look really like, you know, they would show backstage interviews.
Like wrestling was back then.
In the showers and stuff like that. And you're like, man, this looks like a dump.
Like whether it was San Bernardino or a Sportatorium. These places that were famous, you hear about what dives they actually
You would be worried
were.
about like it getting an infection at these shows.
Exactly.
Like just watching it.
Or getting mugged by one of the female prostitutes outside.
But the sleaziness of it looks so cool. Like, because I grew up...
I loved it. I loved it.
I was a Mid-South fan, so I was used to the whole UWF thing, like barbed wire cage matches and like all this crazy shit that would happen, like guys jumping guys as they're walking to the ring.
To me, it was all about the fight, the good versus evil.
Yeah.
I want to see this guy get his butt kicked because he's been mean.
And that's what Juarez was. And then you had Ari Romero, who was actually like this... He was probably the best heel at that time without a manager, just a heel like who knew how to work the crowd. He was my favorite. Like, he was the regular guy. I would see him all the time on that show. It's just great. Like,
was this when he was feuding with Eddie Guerrero?
He was feuding with all the Guerreros, but at that point it was Eddie Guerrero. He was feuding with Eddie Guerrero because all the Guerreros, you know, Chavo was in UWF. Hector, I think, was in Memphis.
Okay.
Mondo was in LA. Mm-hmm. Because I think Mondo was the one that Mondo was the easiest to get, and he was like the one I couldn't stand watching. For whatever reason, Mondo, and he's a good wrestler.
He is.
I always thought of him as Cheech Marin. He has a similar...
I've heard other people say that.
So I was like, man, this is like... And I was a big Cheech and Chong fan, so
same here.
Yeah, so it was like, I didn't mind it, but it was kind of weird to see a guy who looked like Cheech Marin wrestling. Like, whereas Chavo was like...
You see him breaking out to the Mexican-American song.
Yeah, and then Chavo was awesome because he was like the only Mexican in the American wrestling, doing all these cool spots, doing the Hurricane Rana and all this stuff.
I never fully appreciated Mondo until I actually saw him 20-something years ago. Just one night in Tijuana. It wasn't any really big show, but he was wrestling as a heel, and it was so strange because his total facial expression changed, and you would swear he was channeling his dad. His facial expression looked like Gory Guerrero, and I thought, holy shit, this guy should have been a heel all along. And it's funny. And that's not being facetious. I really mean he was a good heel.
It's funny because you have fans who think, because whenever people would ask us who was the best Guerrero, Mondo's usually the last one that we mention. But it's not that he's the worst. I mean, being the last in the Guerrero family isn't like the worst thing in the world. I mean,
it's a big difference than saying you're Hijo del Solitario.
Yeah, or you're well, yeah, him.
Being
Archie Niebles Jr.
Exactly.
You're not. Or
being
like,
the worst in the Guerrero family is still being better than most wrestlers.
Yeah, most wrestlers nowadays. But it was basically Eddie feuding with him, but then you also had Konnan coming in at the time. So Konnan would start feuding with him. So it was basically Konnan, Eddie feuding with them. And then you had like all these other guys who would come in from like Mexico City. You'd have Mil Mascaras come in. Mm-hmm. It was like this, all the top stars, and he was the main heel that they would feud with. So you'd have all these bloodbath matches with him cutting himself up, and he'd have a fork and he'd like lick the blood off of the
I never saw
that. Like that. Oh, he did this one promo where he had a fork. I can't remember who he was feuding with. It had to be Paraguay or somebody like that, and or Eddie or one of those guys. And he's licking the fork off, like the blood off the fork. And I was like, oh man, that's...
I don't think I even saw...
It was a promo. It was really good. It was a really good promo. They did really good promos on that show. Like,
what I will never forget, because I saw a handful of the Juarez, which I believe was from 80... I don't know if it was 88 or 89. It
had to be 88, 89, somewhere that time.
What I remember is, he was a musician.
Yeah.
Good one, too. And he wrote some song... my Spanish, horrible, but I could tell the song.
Yeah, he was ripping on the Guerrero.
Yeah, it was pretty much a song talking about how he loves to kick the Guerrero's ass, and in the background you just see all these scenes of him, like, blindsiding Eddie in the locker room.
Did you see that video that I posted up? They did an interview with Eddie Guerrero, like, in 1990 or 91?
No.
Where he's talking about his favorite opponents, and he mentioned Ari Romero.
Did he really?
Yeah. It's like this, but it's done in Juarez, so he's talking about like the history of Juarez.
Now, was Crazy 33 out of that?
Yeah, he was in that. He was part of Ari Romero's clique. I always thought that was funny because it was Ari Romero and the Crazy 33 and Crazy 32. There was a guy named Rayo Imperial who looked like just some random dude, Mexican
out of the crowd.
Yeah, just like he looked like a normal guy. Like when you look at these guys, when you're watching American wrestling, you're seeing these guys larger than life, and then you're watching Juarez Lucha, and it's like Ryan Payaso, who the fuck is this guy? Like, just like some random, but he could work. He was really fun to watch. Fishman was actually Fishman was the other guy who was feuding with all those guys at that time.
Oh, really?
He was a huge. Cobarde was feuding with Ari too. I think that might have been the feud because Cobarde would work as a heel sometimes.
I enjoyed Cobarde,
and then he would turn into a. I'm talking about the Cobarde, the second one.
The second one, yeah.
Because the first one I never saw.
Apparently
he was really good too.
I saw him. He in that year 1981 when they were promoting at the Olympic.
Yeah.
He was on almost every show, and I remember. Well, it was Tom Hankins and Ed Daniels, who wrestled as his brother. They just said, "Are we watching like a Mexican Terry Funk here?"
He was really good. I heard he was really good.
He was great, and I'll never forget just what a shocker it was, because this was 1981, and then early in 1983, I go down to town to get a Boxy Lucha. On the cover, it just says Descanse en paz el Cobarde.
Yeah.
And I never met the guy, but I just. I'd seen him live so many times. I got to see him work with Tony Rocco. And anybody who has seen Tony Rocco, who was a really stiff... I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but somebody who loved to work stiff. And so he and Cobarde worked beautifully together. Somewhere I have a photo of Rocco suplexing him.
Oh, really?
It's one of the best action shots I've ever taken.
Cool. Yeah, so the other one was his brother, the Cobarde. Mm-hmm. That guy was actually pretty good, too. I mean... I thought he was a good heel. Yeah, I think what happened with a lot of he was a much better heel because he would feud with Fishman a lot. He would feud a lot with Fishman. Was he the one? Was he married? Was it Vicky Carranza he was married to? I think so. Yeah. They had a feud where it was who was the best in Juarez. Mm-hmm. That was their feud. Like every once in a while, they would have a feud, like kind of like the Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee type. Right, where right. They would feud over who was king. Ongoing rivalry, and occasionally they'd make peace. They'd make peace and they'd get along. That's cool. I mean, Fishman. I remember when the internet started. Wait a minute, is it still working? No, just checking the time. Yeah, making certain it's still working. For those of you, the little faceplate on our little MP3 recorder is not well lit, so I have to look really closely at it. We're going to need to get like some... Plus, I'm almost 52, so I have to raise my glasses like an old man because it's harder to read smaller writing now. And oh, jeez. I'm going to get my life alert system. But I remember when Fishman, when I would talk to people who didn't watch Fishman... From they would watch him from different parts or like in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Like, man, Fishman sucked, and I was like, no, man, he was really good in the 80s. He was really good. He was very good. Plus, he had a cool mask. I mean, he had one of the cooler looking masks. Yeah. I mean, I think the name, a lot of people got thrown off by the name because they thought Fishman. It totally blew my mind. But then when you see the mask, you're like, holy shit, that mask is pretty awesome. And I had the great fortune when I saw him work. I saw him work in, again, 1981, but for the LaBelle promotion. Yeah. He worked with Perro Aguayo. See, there's another. And it was right after Perro Aguayo did a Rudo turn, and at first it was... They had a great rivalry, those two guys. They did, and I think, and the funny part is was that Fishman, was godparents to Aguayo's kids, or vice versa, I can't remember which. Yeah, they have a bunch of those. Yeah. Well, I know, whenever they would mention the Yanez family being affiliated with the Guerreros... Right. And I was like, I don't get it. And then I remember, Javier Yanez used to wrestle all the time in Juarez. Yes. I was like, yeah, he did wrestle quite a bit. At first I thought it was going to be comical because Perro Aguayo made his debut when he wrestled Chino Cho, and Aguayo just did this great performance where he just destroyed Cho. Yeah. And Cho was past his prime then. And probably should have been about ready to hang it up, but still, I gotta say, Cho sold for him like he was killed. And Cho was like on top in LA at the time. And I guess all the Latino fans, I didn't know it at the time, but they all knew that the two of them were really close friends. And Fishman runs into the ring and runs in between Chino Cho and Perro Aguayo, and he looks dramatically at Chino Cho, then looks at Perro Aguayo like, what are you doing? Perro, mi amigo? And Aguayo looks at him, and I think they must have been having fun, because it looks almost like they weren't even taking it seriously, where Aguayo shakes his head and scowls, goes, no somos amigos. And then Fishman is doing this dramatic silent movie star, like his heart is broken. Aguayo was the most entertaining guy, just when they would so bring him in tours. Awesome. Him and the Brazos were so much fun to watch. God, they were great. Yeah. And then the following weeks, they had a program. I think it was just 2 matches, but god damn did they work. Yeah. Yeah, it was... in fact,
leave it to the LaBelles or Mike LaBelle, I shouldn't put it on Gene, but leave it to Mike LaBelle to try to, like, ruin something good. They had one of their matches be, like, European style, where it was, like, 5-minute rounds. So in between each round, they'd have to sit on a bench while their second towels them off.
Guy's probably like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, in fact, I'll never forget, the guy I used to know named Bobby Lane was seconding Aguayo, and I'll never forget him, kind of for dramatic fanning off Aguayo in between rounds. And Aguayo just breaks out into this grin and is laughing and says something to Bobby, and I see Bobby trying not to laugh, and I always wonder what Aguayo said.
I'm guessing he must have been like, what the fuck are you guys
doing?
Like,
what is this? Yeah. And I'll never forget talking to Lane afterwards. He says, that thing with the rounds was stupid, but I had a fun time doing it.
Well, the rounds thing is actually pretty entertaining. Like, if you watch the British wrestling stuff.
Well, here's what's weird is the first time I went to a live match, I was thrown off because they said 30-minute time limit. I'm like, what? Because all TV wrestling on Channel 13.
Rounds.
Yeah, one fall, Australian style, one fall, 4 rounds. And so I actually liked it. That's what I grew to know as wrestling. Yeah. So the first time I saw a non-Michael LaBelle show was on, and this was when LaBelle was actually really, really good. And I think in 81 they were trying to revive the old European thing, but it didn't cut the mustard anymore.
Did they bring in any European guys?
Salvatore Bellomo, the master, Chris Adams, but Salvatore Bellomo, the master of Italian leg wrestling.
Oh,
like, wasn't it Cal Rudman said something like that? European leg wrestling.
Did they bring in Stephen Wright and all those guys?
In '74, they did.
They did. Wow.
Yeah, but it was actually perfect for Channel 13 because he didn't do any of this nonsense about like, okay, we'll come back to this match after a commercial. What they say. Being end of the round, next round after the commercial, and it actually worked quite well.
That would work now with all the commercials that they play on.
They should do it. I think it's so retarded saying we'll be back in a minute.
Yeah.
Can you imagine watching a football game?
Know what
somebody's about to catch a pass. And
the bell rings.
Here's a message from Gillette.
You know what I hate? Like the last time I was watching the Raw, they were doing they promote the app.
Yeah.
Well, usually when wrestling goes to commercial breaks, there's usually nothing going on. Well, this time they actually had them do stuff to sell the app. They actually had them do stuff. It's like holy shit! Now I got to get the app. Not that I'm gonna get it. I'm not gonna get it. I don't really need it. How much more wrestling do you really need off of an internet, like an app type of thing?
I don't have to watch it on my app. I'm patient enough. I can go home and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm fine watching Tercera Caída and CMLL and AAA every once in a while.
Yeah, when you have only so many hours. Believe me, if I didn't have to work, I'd be watching so much wrestling it was scary.
Konnan asked me if I watched Heroes and Mortales. I'm like, yeah, I did. I was worried about it when he was talking to me. I was like, he asked me if I watched it. I go, yeah, I watched Heroes and Mortales.
I want to watch it more because the one time I did watch it a few months back.
I'm just glad he picked the show I actually watched. That's why.
Did I ever tell you about the first time I ever talked to him on the phone?
What?
Well, because
what did you call him on the phone? Because I called him Konnan. I was like, I'm like.
No, here's the thing: is
I feel uncomfortable. He was a
Tijuana guy.
You know what? I feel uncomfortable calling him K-Dog.
I would too.
I call him Konnan.
Even if he asked me to call him K-Dog, I think I'd still call him Carlos or Konnan or whatever. Or
I could call him Carlos if I knew him, but I know him as Konnan.
I wouldn't.
It's like Rick Yataki. It took me a while to call him anything other than Rick Yataki.
Yeah, I still call him Rick Yataki because I know it frustrates him. He tries to get Lauren Miyake put on his Cauliflower Alley badge, but they won't do it. They keep doing Ricky Yataki.
Yeah, I think the only wrestler I call by name is you and Jeff.
Yeah,
only true. Because everybody else I know as super.
The only thing I wouldn't call Konnan is Charlie Barbarian. He might kick my ass if I called him that. What it was he was a Tijuana boy.
Yeah.
Nobody ever wrote about it. This was before Win.
Yeah.
So nobody had written about him in the newsletters, and the very first trip we went to in Tijuana was Konnan, Acai, and Lismark against Negro Casas, Oscharo, and Indio Yori.
Dang.
And I remember seeing Konnan just thinking, oh, this should be great, big muscle-head bodybuilder.
But didn't you think, like, he wasn't the type of guy that you thought, oh, this guy's gonna suck, but you thought this guy has star potential?
Well, before I saw
it's kind of weird. Like, I remember...
I just saw him in the ring and just thought, oh, bodybuilder, this is gonna be fun.
So you were at that stage where you're just like you were smart.
Yeah, exactly.
A smart man.
I mean, yeah, but...
You're like, oh, God, this guy...
But as soon as he started working, I went, wait, holy shit, this guy actually wrestles. Like, I was picturing power moves.
Because when I started watching...
He did a tope that first night.
Yeah, when I started watching him was about the time when I was starting to figure out... I wasn't smart to the business, but I kind of knew the difference between a good wrestler and a bad wrestler, what I liked and what I didn't like. Like, to me, Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat was what Ric Flair, Arn Anderson... Rock and Roll Express Fantastics, that's what I would watch. I wouldn't watch Hulk Hogan and... Like, I would still watch that because I'm entertained by that stuff. That's the problem. I'm very entertained in pro wrestling. Like, there isn't one particular thing that I like.
Oh, same here.
It could be like the most... Like, he could be like, you have to be really shitty for me to not want to watch.
Oh, totally.
Like, and that's what's really depressing. Like, if you're really bad and I don't like you, then you're probably not going to make it. Hey,
and I'm a guy who loved the 80s.
Or you're going to be Great Khali and have a prosperous career. You know? But so back then, when I was watching Juarez and like Ari Romero to me was amazing.
Yes.
And then you had Konnan, and I was like, you know, this guy, he's a musclehead, but the dude's pretty awesome. I thought he could be
that's what blew my
next
mind.
Mil Monster. I thought he was going to be like the next Mil Monster, which he came close to being like that level of a wrestler.
Yeah, and as far as not so much on the populist level, but as far as the historian, the wrestling community, he's much more respected than Monster Wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean,
as
for good reason.
Even as a legend, I think he's a top guy in the business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, here's the thing: is we didn't know
loses points for quitting the Dungeon of Doom. I gotta be honest. You should have stuck longer with the Dungeon of Doom. All right? I mean,
You're right. Okay.
How close were we in Wrestle... Remember that Wrestle Reunion while everybody wanted...
You're not listening, are you, Konnan?
Remember when everybody wanted to get the NWO picks for Wrestle Reunion?
Yes.
And I was like, man, how come we don't get a Dungeon of Doom reunion? They were all there, weren't they? Kevin Sullivan was there.
He was there?
Yeah, we could have had like a Dungeon of Doom reunion.
That would have been great, actually. Awesome. But see, the thing is, since the name Konnan and even Asai didn't make the rounds of the newsletters at that time.
It was you who got them the names, right?
I remember. Well, what it was, I remember calling Dave Meltzer and saying, "There's this guy Asai," and he says, "I've seen him. Oh my God, isn't he amazing? He's so underrated." Because that was when. Like he and Casas were in UWA, but they were lower on the card because all the guys like Fishman were on top and Konnan. Well, and now I told him there's this guy Konnan. He's a bodybuilder, but he actually knows how to work, and he actually did like a well-timed. They did that spot where he and Listmark did a double tope.
I actually thought he was good. Yeah, initially, and then he kind of started like when he went to WCW and started doing like all the like. Big moves type of stuff where he would do the Tequila Sunrise and stuff like that. I kind of thought that's when he started dropping off. Yeah, but then I think you also lose a lot of interest in pro wrestling.
Well, but also I think he
burned out on all that stuff.
I think he also figured how to get over with the Viva La Raza stuff. Yeah, and that's when you don't break your body as nearly as bad. But here's the thing: is since his name didn't float around the newsletters, I didn't know his name was Charles Ashermov or Carlos Espada. So it's when we first started doing the newsletter. I get a letter in handwriting saying interested in your newsletter, would love to contribute. I see a lot of the Tijuana stuff.
Oh wow,
Charles Ashermov, and I had a phone number, and I called him and said, "Oh hey, cool, we love the Tijuana wrestling and stuff." And I said, "Yeah, if you want to send us anything, just and." You know how he is.
Yeah.
He's very, yeah, okay, all right.
Well, let me tell you something.
I said, this guy sounds like a street person. This doesn't sound like a wrestling fan.
Yeah. And
then he says, what do you think of the Tijuana boys? And I go, I mentioned Tornado Negro, Indio Yori. He goes, what do you think of Konnan? And I'm so glad he was a good wrestler. Because I said, well, for a bodybuilder, it looks like he's actually out there busting his ass. I mean, he's green, but he's good. And he goes, oh, okay, good to meet you. I'm Konnan. I'm like, fuck. I'm so glad he wasn't like Ultimate Warrior, because I would have said, God, that musclehead dick. What?
I liked Ultimate Warrior. What are you talking about? Back then, in 1987, when he was Dingo Warrior, 86, remember?
I only liked it because they called him Dingbat Warrior.
I liked him as Ding. See, that's what I'm talking about when we talk about wrestling. I was so I had no problem liking like really crappy wrestlers as long as they look cool. And Dingo Warrior looked cool. Like
I'm one of the few people who will admit I liked the Mighty Zulu when I was a kid.
I thought he was Mighty Zulu. That
no, he's
wasn't there another guy afterwards that worked in World Class as Zulu?
It was him.
It was him.
It was.
I remember him. I was like, dude, what the fuck?
He sucked.
Yeah.
But I assume maybe Leo Garibaldi was the booker in L.A. because he knew how to really protect him, and he did the quick win thing with a full Nelson.
Yeah.
He wasn't half bad on the mic, I will admit that, but he had a great look, and even at the age of 13, and I didn't really understand good workers from bad workers, 13-year-old kid, I just loved bad guy, good guy, but even I could tell, wow, this guy's cool, but he can't do that.
You know who I really hated? The Simpson brothers, Sean and Steve Simpson.
I like Steve, I didn't, wait, who was the one who looked like Sammy Hagar with the Hagar hair?
They both had that hair. They were practically twins.
How weird!
One of them was younger.
It's weird.
The younger one, I'm guessing you're assuming the older one, Steve.
Yeah, because I remember one of them.
He was cool when he was alone, but then when they put him with Sean Simpson, I couldn't stand them as a tag team because I thought, oh god, I hate these guys because they're pretty boys. I've always hated pretty boys. I thought
pretty boys are the coolest because they piss people off. I loved Alex Wright.
But it's so funny. Alex Wright was awesome when he did the dance and all that. But the Fantastics I enjoyed. I liked Ricky Morton. I couldn't stand Robert Gibson for whatever reason.
Really?
Yeah, I liked Ricky Morton. I actually like the Fantastics more than the Rock and Roll Express. Mm-hmm. But I think that's more of being a Texas guy and not being a Tennessee.
Oh, interesting.
Fan.
Interesting.
So we got Fantastics more in our area. But and Midnight Express was my favorite tag team by far. They were like it didn't matter. That was like, even though they were heels, they were team.
So they were your version of Gorman and Goliath to me.
Yeah, they were like I thought they were awesome.
I understand that.
I loved Condrey and Eaton, and then I loved Jim Cornette. Like I can't stand his podcast, but I enjoy.
I haven't heard his podcast yet.
It's very political at times.
Is it left?
It's him complaining.
Is it left wing?
Left wing is liberal.
Yeah, he's still he's
liberal.
He still likes Obama. Okay, yeah. Well,
he's an Obama.
I'll listen to some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but it's like some of the stuff they talk about is like I'm really not.
Man, it could get old after a while, but I still have saved. I still save that CD that Dan Farron burned for me when Joey Styles tweeted something about Obama being...
Yeah, and then Jim Cornette just laid into him.
Oh, that was... and he dared Joey Styles to debate him on it.
I could listen to Jim Cornette, but I think he needs to have somebody who will talk to him about wrestling sometimes. Because sometimes he'll just talk...
He just goes off. He just goes in too many directions.
Yes.
Kind of like we do, huh?
It's his show. I understand, but it's a lot of people just want to hear him talk about wrestling stuff, and...
Right.
You can't...
I just love hearing a I love the thought of... especially somebody like Jim Cornette being so to the left, because so many wrestlers are so right-wing to the point of wacko sometimes, you know?
Well, I mean, on that site, a lot of them are left-wing. Like, they're all liberal. Like, Konnan's very liberal. I mean...
Oh, yeah, he is. Well, for one, Konnan's a thinking man. I mean...
You coughed. You had to cough.
I had to cough when I said that. Yep. No, Konnan will debate something, and he'll debate both. I mean,
or he'll call you stuff.
for somebody who
you don't want to be on his.
For somebody who hasn't been to college, the dude is very you would swear he has been to college because he can debate stuff, he can analyze stuff.
Yeah,
I remember when I first knew him. I mean, he'd challenge me on stuff and say, "Why do you like this? Go further." And sometimes I'd say, "Wait, I wasn't expecting to have a debate." But, But no, I've met so many wrestlers who are just like, that Obama is actually trying to take over the world and is going to plant chips in our brains. You know don't you? Crazy. So it's refreshing to hear an angry left-wing person in wrestling.
Yeah, I just think the angry thing kind of gets a little wordy.
It would get old for me, even much as I am.
But there's so many.
And full disclosure, I'm left-wing, so of course I'm going to like a left-winger.
There's so many podcasts you can listen to. It's not. It's not a do or die type of thing. Well,
we covered a lot of ground here. I think this is probably one of the longest LuchaWorld podcasts we did.
We ended up talking about all this other stuff we weren't going to talk about. The Jim Cornette.
I hope there was no disrespect to Ari Romero, because I know we talk about him, then go in another direction, then return to him. But I think we covered just how cool he actually was. I mean,
he was awesome. I mean,
he was something.
You know what I always dug about him was that bump he would do. Like, for whatever reason, that was always the bump.
Are you talking about
the one where he would bump his head, like
bump the back of his head into the turnbuckle?
Into all 3 turnbuckles as he fell.
I've tried to replicate that. I can't do it.
Really? Wow.
I mean, the first time I saw him do it, I thought that this guy's just awesome.
It's too bad because so many wrestlers now will try all these other moves, but nobody's tried that move yet.
And it's a great move.
It's a great move. We also...
I mean, I can do it, but very clumsily.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it poetically.
Yeah, he did. So
it's like boom, boom, boom.
Because I know Kevin Sullivan would do something similar at the time, like, but he would like go from face forward.
Yeah.
He would do, and Ari would do that too, but Ari would also do the behind, do it with his head behind, like just like fall from turnbuckle to turnbuckle.
Yes.
I just
yes.
did that.
He was good. Yeah. He was good.
I mean, he got to work with a lot of good workers too. So it's like,
you know, he's one of the
he was one of those guys who could work with the heavyweights and then work with Eddie Guerrero and guys like that.
Exactly. You know, I don't even know what you'd actually call the book, but I would love to almost do a book that covered people like Ari Romero, Chris Colt, people who were amazing workers, but are very likely to be forgotten in history. It'd be fun to just write and just...
Because you don't hear people like ever debate Ari Romero as one of the greats of all time.
And he was so good.
And it's like, man, you know the other guy that also never gets credit, Ken Timms.
Oh God, he was good. Yeah.
Because I think everybody remembers Love Machine for all he did, but nobody ever brings up Ken Timms and what he did in
That's
Mexico.
true. That's true.
But another guy who was really fun.
He was fun, yes.
So when he teamed with Ari Romero and Juarez, that was even...
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
They used to do the national anthem, and oh my God, people would just boo the crap out of them. And it was like, fuck, man, people are just hating these guys. How are they going to get out of there alive?
It's amazing how, even to this day, nationalist gimmicks, whether it's USA or another country,
I'm surprised they don't use it more, like especially CMLL. When they bring in the foreign guys, they don't really do a lot of the foreign...
Like, you understand the why they don't do it in this country because they're trying to be really correct in a lot of things.
Yeah, and you really can't do it because it's going to offend somebody. If you do it...
It is.
You can't do USA versus Iran or... USA versus...
I mean...
Our enemies right now are Middle Eastern or
yeah. Well, and
you could do it when it was Russians.
The Dutch Mantel thing was such a flop because they were trying to be so careful... not to be offensive, that it sounded like he was giving a dissertation instead of a heel interview.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get mean and nasty. And Dutch Mantel, we're talking like a guy who's great on the mic.
And a guy who could actually get really nasty on
Exactly.
He came from the South. He knows how to...
I know. I sat there saying, okay, he looks like Dutch Mantel. The voice is Dutch Mantel, but that's not Dutch Mantel talking. That's...
Yeah, some of it was too well thought up, you know. Like,
it was overly thought up. They said, okay, let's show that he doesn't like immigrants, but let's do it in a nice way. He's a heel.
Yeah.
You want people to throw shit at him. It's like...
But it's WWE, too. I mean, they were... Yeah. There's only so many... They've never been... Even in the 80s, like, their offensive stuff was never over the top. Even Sergeant Slaughter wasn't really that over the top.
Well, the thing with Sergeant Slaughter,
that was just like...
But he was a straight-out heel, where... Yeah. Zeb Coulter should have done something to piss people off. Instead, he just kind of yammered in no direction.
Yeah.
Where Sergeant Slaughter, and then later, with Iron Sheik, it was as simple as just USA sucks, or I hate Bob Backlund, the lazy draft dodger. Or
like the whole angle with the Russians in Mid-South, remember that?
Yes.
With Eddie Gilbert.
Oh God,
where he buries they bury Bill Watts in the flag.
Oh God, could you imagine them doing that today?
Now? You imagine?
Oh.
They bury Dennis Rodman in the American flag. Bring back Dennis Rodman. Did you see that interview he did on CNN?
No, I didn't. I just heard about all his freaky trips to Korea. What's going on?
Because they were asking him, First of all, who the fuck asked Dennis Rodman if he's gonna have the time to ask about a hostage? You really think Dennis Rodman is really the guy that's gonna ask about a hostage?
Exactly. And it's like,
don't get me wrong. I thought Dennis Rodman looked horrible in that. Mm-hmm. First of all, he's an ugly looking dude. But I mean, who asked Dennis Rodman about this stuff? It's like who comes up? Oh. I've got to ask Dennis Rodman if he's going to ask Kim. I can't remember the dude's full name. The Chinese dude, wasn't it Kim Jong?
The successor to Kim Jong-il who killed his uncle, who had his uncle executed.
Yeah, it's like, yes, Dennis Rodman. are you going to have time to ask about the hostage?
Yeah.
Like,
I say, okay, Dennis, you've had a couple of rough trips there. We need to send another dignitary. Hey, Carrot Top, will you go talk for us? You know,
yes, who's next? Carrot Top?
Yeah.
Carrot Top brings out a prop. Kid Junk.
Carrot Top, my gosh, he scare them. Can you imagine? Because have you ever seen his biceps?
Dude, I saw him in Vegas. Like,
dude,
like
and that hair and that crazy face and the biceps.
I told you my walk down a hallway in the hotel. Mm-mm. We were at the hotel that Carrot Top was at.
Yes.
Performing. And I'm walking down the hall, and they have all these posters. And they have a poster of Carrot Top, and I didn't notice it.
Right.
On the side, they have a poster of the women that are dancing there. Uh-huh. And I looked at it, and I'm holding my niece's hand, 9-year-old. Actually, I wasn't holding her hand. I was walking with her. And as I'm walking by, I turn, and I look at her, and she's just staring at me like, don't be looking at that poster. She gave me that, and I was like, dude, come on, are you serious?
It's evil. We'll put a hex on you.
The evil look. Like,
it'll turn you dork.
Yeah, I'm like,
you'll
come
be
on.
Oh,
there's
funny.
women dancing all over the place in Vegas.
Well, covered a lot of ground.
We should probably talk about Dennis Rodman's post when he returns.
Yeah, we will keep you up on that because I'm sure everybody is awaiting word.
I'm sure everybody wants to know our thoughts on Dennis Rodman's trip to China.
That's right.
What went down.
And we'll have to think of other dignitaries besides Carrot Top that we can send over there too.
Carrot Top. Cheech and Chong, probably.
That'd be pretty cool. Hey, if they could get
the only thing is they're actually, or his daughter, Ray Don Chong.
Yes.
She called Oprah.
What the fuck is that about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no wonder her career hasn't gone anywhere. You know.
Yeah.
She went from being a supporting player in The Color Purple to the queen of whatever happened to.
I know. I didn't even. I thought she. We were talking about how when we were...
I remember thinking she was cute when I was younger.
We were thinking about wrestlers, and then you mentioned how, I wonder if he's alive, or I wonder if he's dead. That's Ray Don Chong. I'm like, she's around? I didn't even know.
It's so funny. I hadn't heard of her... Well, I guess that's a good way to get your name imprinted if you were famous and you want to bash somebody like Oprah.
What she said was really weird.
That was weird. Well, it makes me wonder if that's why she didn't last in the business. If you're not... You got to be tactful.
Yeah. Some weird people in the real world, and not just in wrestling.
I told you my prognosis, did this prognosis for the entire world, the only problem with society internationally? Mm-hmm. There's just way too many nuts in it.
Oh, did you
Too many crazy people. And here's the thing, though. I don't have the solution. Just there are too many crazy people.
Segueing to crazy people. Uh-huh. Sure what Dr. Lucha Sim said?
No.
I think he's stopping from doing podcasts.
Why?
I don't know. That just seems... He tweeted it. I don't know if he was joking. Yeah. I'm thinking it's...
So, Steve, we just said you're crazy. Did you hear that?
He knows. He knows. It's all in good fun.
Of course, and we want to give you another haircut, Steve, really soon. Just as long as you don't give up haircuts.
Yeah.
We have another angle.
I think he doesn't mind because now he knows everybody's gonna like it.
Remember how he said it was a blessing in disguise?
Yeah, I know. I was like, man, the whole point of it was that he was gonna tell stories about how people were making fun of him
and got his. But
instead, everybody's like, "Hey, you look good with that hair."
You know what's true? He looked better with his haircut like that. That was a fun night.
I don't know what's going on with him retiring.
Oh well, let's try again.
I think he's gonna do I think he's concentrating on the book for a while. So it's probably
makes sense.
I think it's just a semi.
I bet you that's it.
Yeah,
because he sounded like he's pretty gung ho about it.
So with that said, we'll announce our retirement from podcasting for to the next show.
Never until the next show, which will happen whenever we decide to.
We don't even have to retire. I think when people ask us about Slam and Stand, it's like, well, we never stop doing it. It's just not really.
Speaking of which, we want to give a big thank you to Scotty Astro for both the interest he shows in this show and for Slam and Stand. I'm always tickled that he would love to see Slam and Stand back. It's neat to see we had a rather...
If we had time, a lot's changed since then. Dan's has work hours that are really weird. Ryan might not be around.
Yeah.
He's probably busy.
I don't know what Bix is up to these days.
Bix is very busy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He's got his own wrestling website.
Excellent.
Just kidding. I don't know.
Oh.
He's too busy tweeting.
You could have fooled me.
Yeah. I was going to come up with something more diabolical for Bix.
You wicked person.
Bix is uncovering the secrets of pro wrestling. That would be like Bix's thing. Like he would actually...
I got to tell you, I marveled at... And it wasn't like it was him. It's like he found wrestlers who would say the most condemning stuff on a website where they put it in public, nobody else would talk about it, but Bix would bring it to the attention.
Yeah, and then you'd be like...
I like that.
And then you would think, Bix is crazy. Nobody would write that on online. And then you go to the site and it's like, holy shit, this guy actually wrote that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This wasn't stuff he made up. That was amazing. It was a lot of fun.
We'll have to do one at some point.
Yeah, we'll do a big reunion show. Since it's January is Battle Royal season, so we could, use that as an excuse to have a special Battle Royal,
We'll invite everybody back on.
Everybody. But thank you, Scotty. There's an interesting guy who we should actually interview sometime.
He's still wrestling, isn't he?
I believe he is. Yeah. He's you're talking about a guy who's I
like how people are listening to these shows and we're like talking about them and they're like...
Well, I encourage anybody who wants to
hear their names.
No, get in touch with a real Renaissance man, a guy who is like well versed, knows a lot about a lot of different things. Go friend Scotty Astor on Facebook. He's a really fascinating person.
Yeah.
Not just wrestling wise. He knows. This is what intrigues me so much. Is when I met him when he came out here to LA. It was because they were going to be doing a pilot, a reality series on bird watching. I went, bird watching, and he's an avid bird watcher and
it's so
insects.
It's so
too.
interesting when you hear about other people, what their other interests are.
Yes,
you're always like, man, I didn't know some people were interested in
how well-rounded a lot of them are.
All this other stuff, like what?
Yeah, because even I am guilty of wrestling geek, comic book geek.
Then you find out that they're into like all this other stuff.
Yeah, everybody has a.
They actually have a life.
Exactly,
that's actually the most shocking thing when they actually have like they have kids and stuff like that. It's like, holy shit, this guy's a wrestling fan.
Yeah, more often than not, there's something pretty fascinating behind their wrestling fanaticism.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
Like the weirdest ones are usually the jocks, like the really jock type of guys.
The ones who take everything too seriously.
Yeah, that's the ones that are like sometimes you don't really know.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And it's not coming from two like nerds.
Exactly.
Although we were called computer nerds by
Oracle.
Wherever she is, a shout out to the Oracle.
A shout out to the Oracle, and I will contact Annie Wolf. We'll get her to sing her national anthem on our podcast. Yes.
We will mute it like.
iPPV,
yes.
Or maybe we could get her to sing a series of national anthems, and that could be the entrance music for the CMLL guys in Japan.
We should actually, what we should do, we should have her sing all the entrance music,
and
then we'll just voice it over onto the iPPV. Like we'll make it available to people.
We're on to something hot,
and we'll see if New Japan wants it.
We're on to something really hot.
This is a good business idea.
We're there.
Yeah,
and. As this is probably the longest podcast we've done, we will bid you folks adieu. We will be back really soon. Take care. Keep on rocking. And I started out this podcast incredibly dorky, so I'm going to finish it incredibly dorky. Until next time, comrades.